And hello and welcome back to Minnesota Vikings football. This is Randy Replay's end of year extravaganza, my second favorite time of year after the bye week, where you get to see how Minnesota Vikings stack up against the NFL and how we did this season. As you can tell in the middle of your screen, Minnesota ended with a 12-5 record, rather. We're doing this right at game's end, so we won't get final stats and tallies for everybody's team and or standing. So you'll have to bear with us. So 12-5. We'll go over everything Minnesota Vikings football here this year. Starting with the schedule for the team, and we'll start in the postseason's about to happen. We'll start in the preseason. So Minnesota Vikings will pick up their first preseason win in this franchise against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 37-23. Then they went to the Dolphins and they lost 48-29, and then lost against the Broncos 52-28. My goodness, not a good preseason for Minnesota. So, and then we started off the year strong, ripping off 3 against the Bears, which was an incredible game. Of course, if you have the time to go back to watch that one, please do. It was incredible. And then we played the Aints. Minnesota playing the NFC South this year. Rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson led us to a 3-0 start as he completed the trifecta against the Packers. So 51 points scored in every single game. Of course, the Chicago Bears being the game of the year for Randy Replay. Week 1. My goodness. It was early to give out that prize, but there it is. And then we go to Atlanta, week number 4, and it's slated as the number 2, the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft taken, and the 2 Titans going at it, and Minnesota comes up short in Atlanta, so we fall to 3-1. And then we rattle off a couple versus the Chargers. We win in a nail-biter again, my goodness. And then we take care of the Seahawks pretty soundly. This game is not brought to you in the condensed version because, as you can see, had to restart the broadcast 6 times due to technical difficulties, and the footage was ultimately lost by the cloud server. So it is what it is. Minnesota will take care of business down in Seattle in week number 6. And then week number 7, we take an L to the Packers in what was probably my least favorite game. You don't want to lose to the Packers, but prior to the bye week, being 5-2, not bad at all. So we take our bye week in week 8. We come back, and Will Levis, who is just on a tear of the league at this time, since then he has kind of trailed off, and he's not as monstrous or menacing as he used to be. We take an L to the Bucks before rattling off a set of wins that will set us up for the number 1 seed here this season. We just didn't know it at the time. We take a win against the Lions. We now split with them this year, 42-34. We win against the Broncos, getting our retribution for the preseason loss. We win against the Panthers, 36-24. We take down the Raiders in a close one, 59-52. We take down the Steelers, 48-44. We go to Arrowhead Stadium. We lose to the Chiefs. And then we beat the Giants 52-27 and the Bears 54-33. And then we rest our starters for the final game, which you just saw, 42-50. So there you have it. So after the bye week, 8-3, and that will put us where we sit now, number 1 seed in the NFC. The postseason yet to be determined. We will get to that, of course, momentarily, but for right now, Minnesota has clinched the NFC North. We've won the NFC North for the first time since 2017. We have clinched the number 1 seed 2 weeks ago now, and what you see is pretty much what you're going to get. If anything changes, we will obviously bring you that information, but if the playoffs were to start right now, this is what you would get. So now the meat and potatoes of these bye week and year-end extravaganzas, the real reason you all are here. How did your Minnesota Vikings do in 2023-2024? Well, we're going to show you. Anthony Richardson, rookie quarterback taken out of Florida. Our first overall selection at number 3 or number 2. Can't remember. That was so long ago. 6,090 yards. He was 445 of 740. That was 60% completion percentage for those of you that didn't know how to do math or simply didn't look over here. Came up 1 touchdown short of 50, but he sets the Vikings franchise single season rookie touchdown record at 49. The previous was 11, if you believe it. And had 51 interceptions. Not a good ratio, but it is what it is. He's a rookie. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. QB rating of 79.8. Longest pass of 77. Sacked 56 times. For Malik Willis, he didn't get too much playing time. Majority of it came in the final game. And he was 39 for 66. He went for 449 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And Minnesota has had 3 different backups this season. My goodness. It was Taysom Hill into Nick Mullins into Taysom Hill into Malik Willis. So a lot of movement around in the QB room, but we seem to have a solidified mobile quarterback room, both men over 6 feet. So there you go. For Dalvin Cook, 550 carries on the year, 2,635, 18 touchdowns. Fumbled it away 5 times, 79 broken tackles, and 920 yards after contact, longest run of 76. And the most important thing, played in 16 games. Did Dalvin Cook. So stayed pretty healthy this season. Hopefully that continues into the playoffs. So Anthony Richardson, 58 carries, 310 yards, 5 touchdowns. Fumbled the ball 10 times. So 61 total turnovers for the rookie quarterback this season. Broke 4 tackles, though. He's hard to bring down at 6'4", 232. Almost like Cam Newton, but not quite. Kene Nwangwu, 37 carries, 168. No touchdowns, had a fumble. JJ off the end of rounds. 22 carries, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. Fumbled it 3 times. Ty Chandler, 10 carries, 58 yards. Again, majority of these runs for Kene Nwangwu and Ty Chandler coming in the last game here against the Lions. 2 broken tackles for Ty Chandler. Malik Willis, 9 carries, 44 yards, 1 fumble. Adam Thielen, 9 for 19. Tyler Johnson, 1 for 18. And a fumble. CJ Ham, 2 for 2. Semi Fehoko, 1 for 2. And the longest run of the year belongs to Dalvin Cook. 76 yards just came a few short weeks ago. In the receiving game, my goodness, you love to see this guy get 3,000 yards. He was pushing for it. You love to see him to get the single season touchdown record, but he falls 1 short to his LSU compadre companion, Jamar Chase of the Buffalo Bills, another team we follow in the franchise, but nevertheless, 143 catches for Justin Jefferson, 2,853 yards, 26 touchdowns. Oh my goodness. What a year for JJ. Just signed one of the biggest deals in franchise history. 6 years, I do believe $203 million. Longest catch of 77. Adam Thielen, 135 catches, 1,500 yards. And 9 touchdowns for Thielen. Also, having a longest reception of 77 yards. Tyler Johnson, who had 100-plus catches last year and 1,000 yards. Obviously being part of the 3 Deep 2.0 in 2022-2023. 60 catches for 721 yards and 4 touchdowns. We do also have to take a look at his drops. We cannot see those. It's probably a good thing. I wonder if we could go back into his single game stats and we might be able to tally them up. Let's see. Season. And it's not going to show us. Oh boy. He was notorious for having a lot of drops this year. Still has 2 years on his deal with Minnesota. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to ballpark it. I don't know how many drops he had. It's definitely double digits. I'm going to say 11. I don't know why it doesn't show you. Anyway, Dalvin Cook, 45 catches, 331 yards, 4 touchdowns out of the running back spot. Sam Laporta, the rookie, tight end, 38 catches, 320 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Colin Johnson, 25 catches, 241 yards, 3 touchdowns for him as well. Excuse me, Simi Fehoko in his only playing time since coming on from the practice squad. 9 catches, 135, and 3 touchdowns. You just saw that in the previous game against the Lions. My goodness. Dan Chisena, 7 catches, 102. Blake Proel, 4 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. CJ Ham, 7 for 25, 2 touchdowns. Kene Wangwu, 4 catches, 17 yards. And then Ty Chandler, 1 for 3 and a touchdown. So there you go. Nobody cares about blocking. We will look up total sacks allowed. And the rookie, Blake Freeland, the 6'8", 305 monster. 119 downs, no sacks given up. Played in 4 games this season. He is the only one on roster, I do believe, to give up 0 sacks. So the future looks bright at left tackle once Christian Darrisaw, maybe he floats over to right tackle and you get Blake Freeland over there on the left, his natural position. I mean, you got yourself a pretty good line. Matthew Jones, the rookie, played in all 17 games, 1,569 downs, only allowed 1 sack. And, of course, the guy who allowed the most sacks, Christian Darrisaw. 13 sacks allowed, played in 12 games, was injured a little bit this season. And then Brian O'Neill, who is expected to be traded on draft night for some draft capital for next year as the team does not have any picks. 8 sacks allowed. Nobody cares about that, though. We're going to go to defense, look at total tackles, and my goodness, Eric Kendricks, league leading for the second straight year as of now, and team leading for the second straight year, 188 tackles. Harrison Smith had 168, Lewis Seen 149, Jordan Hicks 129, Sean Murphy Bunting, new addition this offseason, 122 tackles with his first year in Minnesota, so not bad. Andrew Booth Jr. 95, Cam Dantzler 94, Daniil Hunter 83. Just signed a big deal after a month of going back and forth. He will be on the team going forward. Troy Dye, 66 tackles. Darius, 51. Josh Metellus, 49. Harrison Phillips, Eli Ricks, and Jaqueline Roy each had 41. DJ, good stat line for the rookies there, I might add. DJ Wanham with 34. James Lynch with 21. Didn't really get a lot of starts or playing time, but when he did, he was impactful. Expected to be released as his contract is up, so hopefully we get him back in free agency. If not, well, we wish you the best, James Lynch. You have been amazing for this franchise, and we love you here. So, Justin Jacobs, the rookie middle linebacker, 15 tackles. Joey Porter Jr., 14. Cam Bynum, 11. Tanner Muse, speedy linebacker, 10 tackles on the season. Janoris Robinson and Brian Asamoah with 6. Sezi Otemowo, Jalen Twyman, with 2. Otemowo had 5. And then Patrick Jones, just 1 tackle this season. How many games did he play in? He played in 8 games, so half the season. He is third string, right outside linebacker, so that's not too bad, I suppose. We're not going to look at tackles for loss. We'll take a look at the leaders. It was Daniil Hunter with 43, so signing that deal turned out to pay dividends as he is just a beef eater on that left side of the defensive formation. Eric Kendricks with 22, Harrison Phillips with 20, Jordan Hicks with 17, Jaqueline Roy, the rookie, with 15, so not a bad return on investment. Zaza Darius with 12 sacks. We had a bunch this season. Daniil Hunter, 23.5 sacks. I do believe, let me say this before, or let me review this before. I do believe in his career high for the 8th year, going into the 9th year veteran, and I would speak right. He destroyed his previous record of 2019 of 14. So, Nelly. So, 23.5 sacks, almost breaking Jared Allen's yearly record Yearly record, what the heck? Sacks in a season. Jaquelin Roy, the rookie, 7 sacks for him. Zadarius, 5.5. Harrison Phillips, 4.5. DJ Wanham, 3.5. Eric Hendricks, 2.5. Sezi Otamawo, gotta say that pretty slow. Hey there, Rhyme, come on, let's go. 2 sacks for him. James Lynch, 1.5 for him. Harrison Smith, Jordan Hicks, Eli Ricks, hey there, Rhyme. Jalen Twyman each had 1 respectively. Interceptions wasn't as productive as last season. I mean, Xavier Rhodes got more than the top 2 combined, almost the top 3 combined, as he ended the year and set the record with 26 or 25, I do believe, and our top 3 had 27. But I think we subsequently filled that role pretty good, as Sean Murphy Bunting and Cam Dantzler will end the year with 10 each. Andrew Booth Jr. will get 7. Eric Hendricks with 5 out of the middle linebacker spot. There was a game where he had 3 in 1. And I do believe that was just a couple weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. That was, I want to say it was week 13. I could be wrong, of course, as Randy Replay tends to be. Harrison Smith had 4. Jordan Hicks and Eli Ricks. Oh my goodness, that rhymed again. Lewis Seen each had 2. Josh Metellus, Tanner Muse with 1 apiece. So Tanner Muse got 1 coming in when Zadarius Smith went down. And he filled in that role pretty good. Not going to lie. So, pass deflections, 18 for Cam Dantzler, 13 for Sean Murphy Bunting, 6 for Andrew Booth Jr., 5 for Eric Hendricks, 4 for Jordan Hicks. Harrison Smith and Eli Ricks had 3. Hey, look, Lewis Seen also had 3. And then 1 for Zadarius, DJ Wanham, Troy Dye, and Cam Bynum. So, Troy Dye was another name that got thrown around when Jordan Hicks went down for an extended period of time. Troy Dye played incredible. And then when Jordan Hicks was cleared to play, we didn't see him on the field for too many snaps. For the couple weeks after, maybe holding him out or whatever, but Troy Dye came in and he just played outside of his mind. And hopefully we keep him around for some time here. So catches allowed. I don't know why that's not tracking, but forced fumbles. Harrison Smith had 7. The hard-hitting safety about to be 34 years old in the offseason. Hopefully he doesn't decide to retire, as maybe we can win him a Super Bowl. Maybe that'll coax him into staying around for another. Eric Hendricks with 5, Lewis Seen with 5, Jordan Hicks with 4, Daniil Hunter with 3, Andrew Booth Jr., Troy Dye with 2, Zadarius Smith, Zadarius, I'm contractually obligated to say that. Jaquelin Roy and James Lynch each had 1. And then recovered, Lewis Seen recovered 5, Eric Hendricks, Daniil Hunter, Cam Dantzler, Eli Ricks, and Josh Metellus recovered 2. And then Andrew Booth Jr., Troy Dye, and Harrison Phillips recovered 1. A pair of safeties, actually only 1. Brian Asamoah will score the lone safety this season for the Minnesota Vikings. And then defensive touchdowns, 3 by Cam Dantzler and Andrew Booth Jr. My goodness. And then 1 by Lewis Seen, Eric Hendricks, Eli Ricks, Josh Metellus, and Harrison Smith. And there you have your defensive side stats for the Minnesota Vikings. So, a couple players to note here. A couple guys that are going to be turning 30 plus. That'll be Eric Hendricks. He's still on contract. Harrison Smith will be 34. Of course, on the offensive side of the ball, Adam Thielen will be 35. He will show some regression, so got to be prepared for that. Minnesota has a couple, 4 picks in the first round. Got to take a wide receiver, you would think. And then as far as like depth goes, Troy Dye was Randy Replay's depth player of the year, just coming in for those games where Jordan Hicks went down. Just playing incredible, filling in that spot. He is one of the best depth players we have on our squad, and he will be here for some time, we hope. In the kicking game, Joey Sly having a pretty good season. 44 for 46, only missed 2 this season, and one of them being... Actually, that doesn't count against that. That's an extra point where Joey Sly did not have a good season. So 44 for 46, that is 95% field goal percentage. Longest of 61. For the extra points, 79 of 84. Oh boy. He did miss a couple in week number 4 against Atlanta, he had a couple blocked, and then he missed one against the Lions, doinked it off the right upright. So field goals made up to 29, he is 4 for 4. Field goals made up to 39, he's 9 for 10. Field goals made up to 49, he's 12 for 12. Field goals 50 plus, 19 of 20. 153 kickoffs, 127 touchbacks. Played in all 17 games, my goodness. Punting, Hunter Nicewander having a great season as well. 63 punts. Punting for 3,034 yards, netting 2,658. So 19 of them going inside the 20 and 8 touchbacks. We're going to go and see how many he had in his first year with Minnesota. Against 3 touchbacks. So kind of these numbers are up, but also he did 3 more punts and he punted for almost 500 more yards. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So averaging 42 yards a punt this season, with the longest punt being 60 yards. So my goodness, almost averaging Joey Sly's longest field goal. So Kenny Nwangwu, 96 kick returns, 2,265 yards, 2 touchdowns, both in the opening half, second half kickoff of games against the Panthers. And I do believe whoever we played a couple weeks after that. Longest of 101. He now has 4 in his career for kick return touchdowns. Did we have another kick returner? We did. Dan Chisena with 7 for 140. Joey Porter with 1 for 5. Adam Thielen 1 for 4. Tyler Johnson 3 for 8. And Janoris Robinson 1 for 2. Obviously, those being part of the onside kicks. So Kenny Nwangwu, 16 punt returns, 98 yards, longest of 13. Dan Chisena, 8 for 84. Simi Fehoko, 6 for 43. Joey Porter, 4 for 23. And Tanner Muse, 1 for 1. There you go. So that is your season stats for the Minnesota Vikings. As we take a look at the team stats for 2023-2024. Second in the league with offensive total yards behind the Buffalo Bills. Total yards gained 12,117. That is split up between 9,414 yards of offense, and then 6,087 of those yards are passing. 3,327 of those yards are rushing, averaging 45 points per game. Good enough for number 1 in the NFL. Good stuff. 56 passing touchdowns between our 2 quarterbacks. 24 rushing touchdowns. I do believe the 56 is good for 2nd in the NFL, behind the Buffalo Bills, of course. Living in their shadow this season, it seemed like. Can we get back? There we go. And then 515 first downs for the Minnesota Vikings. So defensively, we should be dead last in the NFL, and we are. 9,707 total yards allowed. That is split between 6,933 passing and 2,774 rushing. Good enough for worst in the NFL. My goodness. 681 points allowed, 59 QB sacks, 23 fumble recoveries, and 44 interceptions for your Minnesota Vikings defense. Conversion rating, I don't know if we really want to go into this. I mean, we weren't really good on these conversions, but we'll take a look. We had the second most third down conversions in the NFL, 158 for 308 with a rookie quarterback. That is 51% third down percentage. On fourth down, we were 9 for 15, good for 60%. And 2-point conversions, we were 4 for 9, good for 44% conversion percentage. Red zone efficiency, we had the second most red zone trips behind the Buffalo Bills. My goodness. 119 trips, and we scored 58 touchdowns and 13 field goals. Red zone percentage of 48%. Red zone defensive trips, 127 times the teams opposing us got into the red zone, giving up 35% scoring That being 45 touchdowns and 35 field goals. All right, so penalties. Once again, we were the least penalized team. We finally beat the Buffalo Bills in something. 26 penalties committed, 281 penalty yards. My goodness. Turnovers. Let's not look at this. This is something where you don't want to be better than the Buffalo Bills at. They were, obviously, you see the numbers. Minnesota Vikings was -6 in the take give. We give it away 71 times. We took it away 57. That would give us -6. We lost 14 fumbles. Excuse me. 14 fumbles, 65 takeaways. Okay, sorry. So of our giveaways, 57 interceptions, 14 fumbles. Our takeaways were 65. And then our defensive interceptions, 44. Our defensive fumble recoveries, 23. So there you go. We really don't care about fumbles forced. We just care about ones that are recovered. And, of course, we did just that. Weekly awards we'll go through really quick. There we go. Justin Jefferson won it week 1. 9 catches, 262 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 rush yards. It's kind of fitting that in the last week that he played, he got 257, 4 touchdowns, and 15 rush yards. So kind of a similar stat line there, 257, 262, doesn't really matter. We'll go through. Dalvin Cook won it in week number 2, 36 carries, 218 yards, and a touchdown in rushing and receiving. Trayvon Diggs got 4 picks. And we'll just do it for the teams that we follow, of course. Andrew Booth Jr., two interceptions, 1 touchdown, and he won NFC Defensive Player of the Week. So in the first 3 weeks of the season, Minnesota has had somebody representing them in the NFC Offensive or Defensive Player of the Week. And then week 4, we just got destroyed as Trayvon Diggs picks off Anthony Richardson 4 times. And the Bills, Chase Young. Once upon a time, he was in Buffalo. 6 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble. Of course, Will Levis dominating the NFL the early season. Allen, 15 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 pick in week 8. Kyle Pitts, 19 catches, 239, 3 touchdowns. And then Mr. Quinn, 7 tackles, 3 sacks in week number 9. Week number 10, Lewis Seen, 12 tackles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 defensive touchdown. Najee Harris won it in week 11, 50 carries, 331, 3 touchdowns, 2 fumbles, 2 receptions, 9 yards. And as we keep going, Justin Jefferson, who won it NFC Offensive Player of the Week 3 times this season. His second goes for 12 catches, 275, 4 touchdowns, 1 fumble. So in 3 games, Justin Jefferson had 200 plus and 4 touchdowns. My goodness. Kind of a little thing that we failed to mention. And it was week number 15 where Eric Kendricks had the 3 picks I mentioned earlier, 11 tackles in that one as well. And he won it back-to-back weeks as the other one he won it, week 16, 18 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 pick, 1 forced fumble in that one. And then just this week, previous, Justin Jefferson, 12 catches, 257, 4 touchdowns. So each time Justin Jefferson got in the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, he scored 4 touchdowns. So there you have it. And then we'll take a look at yearly awards. We'll figure out. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to save that for the. Actually, you know what? Yeah, this is end of year. We'll take a look as it sits right now prior to the playoffs where everybody ranks. So Russell Wilson, the league's MVP, number 1 rated team in all of football. Coach of the year, Nathaniel Hackett. He showed that he could hack it. AFC Offensive Player of the Year, of course, goes to Jamar Chase, setting the single-season touchdown receptions record at 27. Playing for the Bills, and Bills have the top 3 spots. Take your pick, Najee Harris or Amon-Ra St. Brown. No Viking is listed in the top 10. Of course, that being this is the AFC, and we're not in the AFC. Randy Replay may be a little drunk or dumb. One of the two. Take your pick. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. Bills, Tre'Davious White, just on the coattails. Excuse me. And then offensive rookie of the year, of course, their rookie wide receiver Jordan Addison, a lock, and it's not even close. Michael Mayer, who the Vikings highly touted as a tight end, came up in second. So there you have it. Defensive rookie of the year for the AFC goes to Justin Flo. And the best QB will go to Patrick Mahomes. Best running back, Najee Harris. Best wide receiver, Jamar Chase. Best offensive lineman, Joe Thuney, or Tooney, however you want to say it. We prefer the latter here, Joe Tooney. Myles Garrett, best defensive line. Best linebacker, Khalil Mack. Best defensive back, Tre'Davious White. And Amani Oruwariye. You have to say that really slow so you pronunciate everything correctly. Best kicker, Josh Lambo. And then as we go to the NFC, Offensive Player of the Year for the NFC side, there is no question about it. It is Justin Jefferson. So the LSU boys kind of taking over everything here as far as Offensive Player of the Year goes. Dalvin Cook, Kyle Pitts behind him. Defensive Player of the Year, it is Chase Young. Oh, you got to believe that his short stint with the Bills in the beginning of the season helped him achieve that. And then, of course, Danielle Hunter falling short of the sack. The amount of sacks that Chase Young got, but that's okay. Trayvon Diggs behind him as well. Offensive Rookie of the Year, it is Blake Corum. It's not even a lock. Overtaking, at one point, seemingly indestructible Will Levis, who was just on a tear in this league. My goodness. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to the Falcons again. Will Anderson, their first overall selection. The first overall taken in this year's NFL draft. So Blake Corum and Will Anderson, Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year for the NFC side. And best QB will be Will Levis. Anthony Richardson not listed because of the 51 interceptions. But he's number one in our book. Best running back, of course, Dalvin Cook. Christian McCaffrey just behind him. And then Blake Corum will end up in third. And that is just about it. Best wide receiver, no doubt about it. Boo, we don't like Levis. Yeah. Minnesota Vikings fan line letting Will Levis know what we think about him. Boo. It is not even a question. NFC best wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, 200 yards shy of 3,000 on the year. Cooper Kupp will be behind him, and then Mike Evans. Best offensive lineman, I don't expect to see any minute. Well, actually, the rookie, number 6, Matthew Jones. Okay, so it will be J.C. Treader. Best defensive lineman, Chase Young, again, probably helped out by the Bills. Otherwise, it would have gone to Danielle Hunter. Interesting. Best linebacker, it will be Leonard Floyd. Josh Allen on the list as well is Will Anderson Jr., Von Miller, who had a short stint with the Vikings, the Bills, and the Lions in this franchise. My goodness. Shaquille Barrett and then Eric Hendricks rounds out the top 6. Best defensive back, obviously Trayvon Diggs, just destroying everybody this season. Sean Murphy Bunting and Cam Dantzler and Jeremy Chin. Andrew Boo Jr., Harrison Smith. So 6 out of the top 10 are teams that we follow in this franchise. My goodness. Best kicker, of course, Joey Sly. Matt Gaye following up him. And then we go to Offensive Player of the Year. So there you have it. Yearly awards going around. We're going to take a quick look through these NFL records and see if anybody broke anything. Aaron Rodgers came close last season. Kirk Cousins, 603 last year. Passing touchdowns in a season, it was Mitchell Trubisky and Tannehill last season. We don't really care about that. Lamar Jackson, single season rushing record. Actually, Najee Harris came pretty close to breaking it twice this year with 331 and 369. So there you go. Ezekiel Elliott last season. And Dalvin Cook, 305 up there. So getting names on the board. That record from 1929 still stands. Rushing touchdown 6. My goodness. Alvin Kamara almost breaking it New Year's Eve against the Minnesota Vikings in 2020. Justin Jefferson just shy of the single game receiving yards. Just needing just about 20 to break it. Last season, of course. This year he came close to 300. Nobody's going to break that record. So now we'll go catches in a game. Brandon Marshall still stands to this day. Adam Thielen had 20 last season. Travis Kelce came close. Kyle Pitts came close. Defensive sacks in a game. I don't think this record will ever be broken, but we shall see. History tend to repeat itself. Defensive interceptions, 5 in a game. Last season by Mr. White for the Eagles. Okay. And Russell Wilson will obtain the single game passing yards mark, 651. My goodness. So, passing yards for a season, it will be Josh Allen, 6,868. He will break it. And then Anthony Richardson just on the coattails, if you want to call it that. Had he started the last game of the season, it would be closer, but he will score 6,090 yards. Last year, Tom Brady. Josh Allen last year almost broke Tom Brady, so there you go. Josh Allen, passing touchdowns in a season was 65. My goodness. Peyton Manning gets his record shattered this season. Congrats to Josh Allen. Rushing yards, Najee Harris in a single season, 2,766. Dalvin Cook just behind him, breaking Cordero Patterson's record from the previous year of 2,353, where Ezekiel Elliott fell just shy. My goodness, these running backs are going crazy this season, and it shows. Receiving touchdowns in a season, 27 for Priest Holmes, not going to be beat. Rushing touchdowns. Sorry. Did anybody come close? No, I don't think this will ever be beat. 27. Receiving yards in a single season, Justin Jefferson breaks Kyle Pitts' record. Actually breaks his own record from last season. Kyle Pitts broke it as well this year, but Justin Jefferson takes it back. So it's a back and forth. Actually, okay. So it was 1964, right? So 4 men, really 3, but one of them did it twice, have broken that record here. Okay, I'm an idiot. Never mind. Don't listen to Randy Replay. All you need to know is Justin Jefferson broke his own record set last season and beat out Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase for that record-breaking season, 2,853 yards. I was misreading the years. I'm an idiot and or a doo-doo brain. So there was a race here towards the end of the season, receiving touchdowns in a single season. Justin Jefferson just falling short, and Jamar Chase. So the LSU boys will be forever etched in history. Pending any weirdness, I don't think this one will be broken ever again. What a magical season for Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Hashtag gritty gang. Over 50 touchdowns in between them. My heavens. Single season catches, 167 for Kyle Pitts, breaking Michael Thomas's record from the Aints. You'll love to see it. Congratulations, Kyle Pitts, on your record-breaking season. Of course, last year, Adam Thielen just falling short by 5 catches. Defensive sacks in a year, it will be this year for Chase Young. Danielle Hunter again falling just short, a half a sack short of Chase Young's single season defensive sack record. Ouch, I just hit the mic. And this is another one, right? I don't think will be broken in some time. Xavier Rhodes last year setting the single season interception record at 22. Trayvon Diggs came close this year with 17. Prior to that, Mr. Lane from the Rams, 1952 with 14. So since then, 3 people have broken that record. So that's going to just about do it for NFL records. We don't really want to look at career stats or coaches' stats. We've been through everything stat-wise. Minnesota Vikings, great season. You want to see more from Tyler Johnson. That is the only blemish, really. So as you can see off to the right side, oh, I can't do that, can I? Okay, so we'll go there. Those stats. And do I really want to get into this? Yeah, real quick, we'll do it. All right, 3, 2, 1. And then as we're looking at season stats for the NFL, we'll just kind of breeze and meander through the top 3 or 4 in each category. So Josh Allen, you can see 65-63, ended with more touchdowns than interceptions. Must be nice. Anthony Richardson, 49-51 ratio. Russell Wilson, 5,896, 39-15. Bryce Young, the rookie, kind of got hurt from as far as like rookie numbers go, because it was really a quarterback by committee there for most of the season. Jordan Love and Bryce Young going back and forth at it, but he will end the season with just shy of 5,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 38 PX. And then as we look for Will Levis, he's kind of down here, but 41 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, just goes to show you that the command that he had over this year, early on in the season, insane for Will Levis. And then as we try and find that other guy there he is right here, Jordan Love, 1,273 yards, 4 touchdowns, 9 picks, and that kind of took over the last couple weeks. Played really well, as far as we can tell, for Bryce Young, who really played really well against the Vikings as well. And then, like I said, it was just quarterback by committee there for the last week or two. So and there you have it. Najee Harris will be the number 1 running back. Dalvin Cook, Blake Corum. So top 3 is players that we follow in the franchise. Dalvin Cook tied for most touchdowns in the season with Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Hog. Receiving, JJ, of course, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adam, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Adam Thielen up there as well. Tyreek Hill, Jordan Addison for being a rookie, being in the top 10. That's crazy. Stephon Diggs up there as well. Dawson Knox. Nobody cares about blocking. Actually, who led up the most amount of sacks? I want to see this real quick. 22 by Brian Bulaga, ex-Packer. You love to see it. We'll give him some claps as he is expected to retire after having such a bad season. Defensively, for total tackles, I was mistaken. TJ Edwards will lead by 1 tackle over Eric Kendricks. So Kendricks sits the last week, and we miss out on another league-leading performance. So I do apologize to everybody in Falcons territory. You guys have won the all-around tackle award for tackles in a season. You take it away from the reigning defending head of the table champion, Eric Kendricks, 189 to 188. There you go. Jeremy Chin up there as well. Tremaine Edwards, Harrison Smith, Darius Leonard, Miles Jack, Lewis Seen, Devin White, Devondre Campbell. So really the top 5 spots dominated by teams that we follow here in the franchise. Most of these things that we track here. So Joey Sly, the number 1 rated kicker with more than 20 attempts in terms of field goal percentage. Boswell Piñato, McManus, Matt Gaye, and Tyler Bass up there as well. Got to be careful how you see Chris Nagar up there as well. Will Lutz, Nick Folk, Zerline. You got to be careful with how you say that in this day and age. Of course, with Gaye as well. We won't say that word as well. Punting, Hunter Nicewander. Actually, it was Johnny Hecker. Average yards per punt. No, sorry. Gene Dangus, the rookie, winning overall best punter in terms of yards per punt. 53.7. Gillikin. And I don't believe anybody's in the top 5. The teams that we follow, my goodness. Here is Bradley Pignon with 50. Gotta love saying the Pignon. And, wow, Hunter Nicewander, 48.2 average yards per punt. Who led the team in kickoff return touchdowns? It was Montrell Washington and Kenny Wong Woo. And I don't see anybody from teams that we follow, so it was Kenny Wong Woo with that. Punt returns for a touchdown. Jordan Addison, what did he lead the league in? 49 punt returns. I do believe that is good enough for number 1 in punt return yards as well. No There's only 2 punt return touchdowns this season by Deebo Samuel and Kayshon Boutte, or Boot, however you want to say it. And there you have it. That'll just about wrap us up here. Randy Replay's end of year extravaganza for the Minnesota Vikings, 2nd overall rated offense and last ranked defense. Ouch. Scored the most amount of points in the NFL. And also allowed almost the most. So there you have it. That will just about wrap us up here for the end of year extravaganza. The playoffs start next week. We get to see the wild card, and this has been Randy Replay. I will see you in the next one.